The Shape of Things to Come, Dianne Brill.
And she wasn't your everyday, fashionable image.
Started The Shape of the 90s.
No question when you see me that you know that I'm a woman.
Heralds a new, entirely new shape for women and a new era for women. It epitomises the freedom of choice. Dianne Brill.
But I am the freedom of choice.
Oh, hi and howdy. My name is Jack James Busa, and we are here at the Club Room at New York's historic and iconic Soho Grand Hotel. Joining me today is a nightlife legend, and I don't use the word lightly, legend, and the fabulous host of RuPaul's Drag Race Germany. Please pucker up and give a warm welcome to the absolutely brilliant Dianne Brill.
Oh, hi, Jen.
Hi.
Hi, Jen.
I'm so happy you're doing this.
I'm so glad you thought of me.
Of course. So you're always on my mind. Oh my God. I'm never washing this hand again. How are you?
Better than better.
Better than better?
Better than better, great.
So we're here at the Soho Grand Hotel. You've been to the Club Room before. Of course. Who hasn't?
A lot of my friends stay here when they're in town in the Soho Grand, and I like to walk into the lobby.
Yeah.
Yeah? You scan the room, think whipped cream covered thoughts, and then you go up the stairs, and just a few, so it's not too much. So then the entrance is like down and then up.
Yeah.
Like you're like a phoenix. I know when I walk in the room, and being home back in New York more seriously now for the last 2.5 years, people treat me like I'm very welcome.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, is that everybody and at all times? And I thought, no, it isn't. It's something that you're bringing at this particular moment that the city needs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a kind of inclusion, but it's also a thrill.
Yeah.
I mean, thrill.
It's a Brill.
It's a Brill thrill. You know?
The first time we met, you disclosed to me that you were going to be on the new RuPaul's Germany.
I thought this would be fun. What a dream job.
Your season was the first ever in the whole franchise where a cisgendered woman won.
It was Pandora Knox who won. She's an Austrian queen. She's amazingly talented. And at first, when I came into the concept, like everyone, when you say cisgender drag queen, well, how does that work? I mean, she just puts on a bikini and high heels and then she looks perfectly like a woman. Well, no, it's not drag queen. It doesn't mean you want to look like a woman. Sure, it's feminine based, but it's something much larger than that. It's become its own animal that has nothing to do with impersonation of a female.
Yes.
You're not trying to pass, some are, but generally as female, you are trying to be a drag queen, which is its own world. She tried different body types, like she wore those silicone vests that have built-in tits and all that. Like she wore those sometimes. Sometimes she wore smaller boobs. Sometimes she'd show her butt. Sometimes she'd come as a drag king. She would do many looks, yeah. But her grandeur was really unparalleled. How she impressed me is that she was absolutely devoted to every single competition, to every single detail. She loved to be in the bottom, because when she was in the bottom, she always had to do the lip syncing. And she loved it.
She wanted to perform.
She wanted to perform, yeah. She had that, like, choking at the bit to perform. So she was often in the bottom. But in the end...
Well, she was at the top at the end.
But in the end,
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, that's how it goes. You tail as...
I'm not thinking it, you are.
The joy of drag is amazing, however you interpret it, and however far you want to go. If it's a coat of lip gloss, or it's another perfume, or it's your favorite jacket, or whatever it is, just that you put something on the outside that affects you positively on the inside.
Right.
You know, sometimes we have to work from the outside in. Here I am, standing naked in the mirror, fresh from the shower. What do I want to be today? You know? I know. Yeah. I want to be the Munch Scream painting. This is what I'm looking to do. You know.
It Girl, Queen of the Night, Shape of the 90s, Shape of Things to Come, Muse, all these things. How do you navigate what other people's interpretation of you are while accepting what it is? I get it. That's how you see it. How do you navigate that while still being Dianne?
People always want to define me, and they say, like, you know, the ultimate it girl, the queen of the night, and all that stuff, the mother of this, the mother of that. You know, it's always wonderful to hear, but I am hard to define. But I think I am really interested
Yeah.
And I think that's probably always been my strength, that I am interested. I'm interested in people.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I want to know their story. I really do. When I'm talking to them, they are the most important person in the world to me. I'm not thinking about a million things when I'm sitting and talking to you. Well, you're exception. Everybody feels like you, Jack. But I mean, but even people that are less understood than you are, I find fascinating, and I'm always interested in their backstory.
Yeah. You were talking about when you come into rooms, people are excited to see you. Was it always like that? When you were becoming the queen of the night, was it always that way?
It's not that everything was always good for me outside of that.
Right.
But I think in that world, when I walk in with a sincere, open heart and sort of a thrill about being there in the room, I think it's contagious.
You grew up in Tampa, Florida.
Most of us who wind up in New York City, we're sitting in our rooms and going, why don't I fit into what's happening here? And also, why are they making fun of me at the mall? What the hell does she have on? Because you're thinking, I look really good, and you kind of know, like, no, your squirts that you're wearing are not what I'm looking for, but there's only you.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like you have a team that can support you. They're the team. So you think, like, should I buy squirts? Is it like squirts?
Should I buy squirts?
Should I buy squirts? Squirts are like skirt and short
shorts.
and one. It's the ultimate bad taste.
Yeah. But you can do cartwheels in them and then spin after.
Yeah, okay, that's practical for those who do that. Yeah, on a daily basis. But outside of that, there's no reason to buy a squirt. Okay? I moved to London, and that was a very good move for me.
Why London?
Oh, because it was like, we're like, you know, new romantic and new wave and post-punk and all of the things that were like great in fashion and music and art were all coming from there.
Yes.
You know, it was hatching here, right? It was hatching, but it was like Club 57 was starting to hatch people, but not until Danceteria did that really bloom.
Okay.
And I walked in when Danceteria was coming.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about
That was
that
pretty amazing. I mean, I was really the right girl in the right time. I mean, if anybody could have been, considering what I've been through living in Tampa where everybody was, what the hell do you have on?
Squirting it up.
And we're all those squirt lovers. Imagine you walk into New York and then there are people who like welcome you and that love every detail about you.
Yes.
And you look at them and you like, love every detail of them.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, look at them, everything's good. And then you also feel like tribe. And you feel this feeling like I can relax and I can authentically be myself, talk about any thought I have without any censorship or is it cool, is it not cool? None of that. It's just you're in really a safe space. All my friends, many of them became famous artists, some didn't. The famous ones, of course, are Keith Haring, who was a close friend, Basquiat, of course, Andy, who was also already well established when he and I became friends, but
he said in an interview or in his book of parties that your birthday party was the best party he'd ever been to.
Yeah, it's true.
That's pretty bad.
That'll be forever. Like in my.
I looked that up on the internet.
Yeah, that was right, and that was right there, and it's a true story. It's really true. It was really one of the best parties ever. The real like loudmouths were all in this room at this big dinner.
Okay.
And it was on the first floor of Danceteria, which is where the bands would play at the time, like Psychedelic Furs or a Spandau Ballet. Oh yeah, no, you're gonna love that DJ.
I'm so jealous.
No, you shouldn't be. And Madonna, of course, did her first performance in that space too, which we almost weren't going to book her because we're like, how do we book a girl that's just got one song?
Yeah.
And
everybody.
So everybody said, no, can't do it. And finally, Howie Montauk said, look, we'll put Madonna in the cabaret. And so then she just does one song. And we were like, perfect. Did have a brief story. Something did happen to me once that was completely insane. All right, I'll be brief.
Just once.
It's a long story, but it's okay. So I was going to Danceteria. I was doing my first fashion show for my menswear company, right? So it was like small. I'm going to this show and I have on like a military trench coat that had like leather trim. I had like a S&M kind of peak hat like this, black and white spectator mules and fishnet stockings and the whole stuff, white leather gloves. In the meantime, the cab driver hit a person and the guy is like freaking out. He's crying.
It's not funny.
He's crying in the front seat. And I'm waiting for like that hero to come. And I realized, you're the hero. So I got out of the car. I calmed the crying guy down. I said, don't worry, you're going to be fine. I go to the guy who's lying on the floor. I took one of my samples because I had my menswear collection was there. I take a coat. I put it over the guy. Everything's going to be fine. I go find somebody. No phones. So you have to take a quarter and go to a booth and call. So I found someone that I thought, okay, that looks trustworthy. could you please go and call 911? So he goes and calls 911. The traffic starts backing up and backing up and backing up. I realize I have directed traffic. I'm wearing like, it looks like a traffic direct. I got white leather gloves on.
And you're like, and your hat, you're like, over here.
I look like, right? So I direct the traffic. I direct the traffic. I cleared the way. I got all my shit. I left the thing with the guy.
Where's your whistle?
I didn't even need it. I was like doing the thing with my white glove. I looked the part. But the guy was fine. And I let him keep the coat. And I told him, dry clean only, when he left.
What do you think the biggest difference is of what we perceive to be the pinnacle of nightlife, like 80s, 90s, and now? Because I personally think, and we had this conversation the other night at dinner, not to brag, about this renaissance of nightlife, this second act of nightlife. What do you see is similar and what's different?
I think that the COVID made us rethink about everything. And I've seen this happen before with AIDS, where out of nothing, all of a sudden there's this killer thing that happens. There's no way we can remain unchanged from something like that. But I know that when you and I are out, we are having a great time. We're connecting, we're exchanging ideas, we're thinking, we're making jokes, we can spend hours talking about anything.
I think people were begging for
Connection.
fun and connection and actually exchanging ideas. Everybody appreciates having fun.
I have a theory. I think something happened that is really weird, that happened kind of slowly, and then all of a sudden it was just there. This was not part of our reality. Cash equals cool.
Okay.
Right? Because cash does not equal cool. Cash is fabulous, but it doesn't equal cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool is something that has nothing to do with anything to do with cash. With the shock of going through COVID, that somehow subtly we're starting to understand, like, what is cool again?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling, and I'm sure you do too, when we go out, I can feel the cool, like belonging, like we're together, we're here, we're feeling the moment. Different types in there. Money doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah.
So you've got all of that. And then you get like creatives and people with dreams, and then they tell you everything.
And that's why we love nightlife. That's why
Right.
we all come to
Yes,
this.
absolutely.
Because at one point or another, we were all squirted
Yeah.
in Tampa, in our Tampa Floridas. That's why we love these spaces. That's why it's important. That's why dance is liberation and freedom.
But I do see a need for fire starters, and I'm certainly a fire starter.
Hell yeah.
Right? And so are you.
That's right,
Yeah,
baby.
That's right. Bring the fire starters. The fire starters are very necessary.
Yes.
And also to give permission to already say, no, cash doesn't equal cool. Boy, you know what that does to so many people. The shoulders go down. That means they don't have to compete in this other world to get love or attention. They can actually just be themselves wherever they are and whatever they're doing. Right?
Yes. When you come up these stairs and the doors close, you can be whoever you want to be. That's the New York City superstar.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that means.
I'm real, and I'm actually in the room, and I'm looking at you, and I really am looking at you.
Yes.
Like there's nothing I love to see. I look at you and I see the little boy.
I just got really happy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that person. And you can tell that I like you because it's real. And I think that is a beautiful thing to be understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What in your career are you most proud of?
Oh my God, that's a lot. I had a line of cosmetics that were just absolutely brilliant.
What were the
And it was
were they called
they were
absolutely
brilliant. No, what was a rewarding thing is that you take somebody who sees themselves one way, and then you go and then all of a sudden they look like the thing that they feel inside. They can show it on the outside. When it comes to like one of my career has really been rewarding, I think. Whenever I speak to that little boy or that little girl that's in their room in a place and they're misunderstood, and they see a picture of me doing something somewhere, wearing something somewhere, and they think like, oh, she's doing it, I can do it too.
My last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say as you enter the pearly gates?
You won.
I love that. Dianne, thank you so much for doing this. On behalf of Soho Grand Hotel, I want to thank you, and as a personal favor to me, I really, really appreciate it. And I love you and everything that's coming out, and I can't wait to see what's next, because I know you have many things.
I got plans.
cooking. I love you, baby.
Wow. Wonderful.
Cut.
Yeah.
What a bunch of hams.
How about like Showbiz.
Showbiz, baby. Wait, show ponies. Before I yank this mic off of this...